Hi friends, welcome to Happy Nursing. I am Ila and today we will discuss about naturalism. In my previous video, I discussed about idealism. If you have not watched my previous videos, then please do watch it. And if you like these videos, then please like and share these videos and subscribe my channel. Without further ado, let's begin. Naturalism is a concept that firmly believes that ultimate reality lies in the nature of matter. Matter is considered to be supreme, and mind is the functioning of brain that is made up of matter. It is through our senses that we are able to get the real knowledge. Means we get the real knowledge through our sense organs. Now if we just pause and rewind back to our previous topic, idealism, then you will remember it was saying just the opposite. It was saying that idealists believe that the world of mind is real and not matter. Naturalism is saying that material world is the real world which is governed by certain laws. So man, who is a creature of this material world, must behave according to these laws. Now it will be easier for you to understand if we go through its fundamental principles once. Let's see what are they. First one says, the material world is the real world. The material world means the world which is made up of the matter. Matter includes solids, liquids, gases, radiant energy and space. Naturalists do not believe that there are any spiritual values or absolute truths. To them, matter is everything. Next, the mind is subordinate to matter. The mind is subordinate to matter means, as I already said friends, in the world of naturalism, first comes matter, which is the most important, and mind is considered of lesser importance than that. Mind has no existence apart from the body. It will be eventually more clear to you as we approach forward in the topic. The third point says, nature alone is the source of all knowledge. That means nature is complete in itself, having its own laws. Naturalism believes that mind is not the source of knowledge. All knowledge is acquired from the outside. Outside means the nature, and senses means our sense organs are the gateways of all knowledge. Next point says, values are created in terms of specific needs. That means man creates the values when he reacts to or interacts with his environment. For example, peace. Peace is created by man in order to maintain good relationship and work environment in society. Similarly, love. Love is also created by man because nobody can live alone. Everyone needs someone to move forward in their life, to continue living. There is no supernatural, means nothing is above, beyond or outside of nature. Nature justifies all existence, including human beings and their behavior. Next is, the individual is always given utmost importance. Friends, if you recall what idealism was saying, you will see values had more importance than matter, and man had to acquire those values by rising above himself, by realizing that he is the one small part of a whole great universe, which we were calling as self-realization. Now in naturalism, the thing is just the opposite. Here man himself and his mind also, which is made of matter, is the most important than any spiritual values, ideals or the universe. So man himself as an individual gets all the significance here. It's man who will pull through everything. Next is, man creates societies only to meet some of his needs. This is also just like the fourth point. Values are created in terms of specific needs. Same way, society is also created by the man to fulfill his own needs. For example, a society consists of neighborhoods, schools, colleges, hospitals, workplaces, etc. And all of these places are needed for the survival of human being. Neighborhood for support and safety in the time of needs, for interaction because nobody can live in isolation, schools and colleges for education, and then hospitals for treatment, workplaces for a job that will earn him his livelihood, etc. Now there are types of naturalism. There are three types of naturalisms: physical naturalism, mechanical naturalism and biological naturalism. First one, physical naturalism says there is nothing beyond, behind or other than nature. Now, as we are studying from the very beginning that naturalism is a philosophy with the belief that nature alone represents the entire reality. There is nothing beyond, behind, or other than nature. Now, physical naturalism believes that reality exists in the natural universe, not within the individual. And the laws of physical nature govern the laws of human life. It sounds a bit of confusing, right? Okay, I will give you an example. The nature outside us, which consists of rising of the sun, earth revolving around the sun, occurrence of day and night, etc., all these are governed by an external natural force, and this external natural force is equivalent to the universal mind or God of idealism. Next is mechanical naturalism. Man is a machine. This form regards man as a machine without spirit and is governed by mechanical laws. He has no creative capacity, purpose, or direction. This philosophy therefore aims at training man as a good machine and keeping it in good working conditions. Next is biological naturalism. Man is a form of life. This form explains man in terms of life from which he has evolved. As the name suggests, biological naturalism is created from theories within the biology and most specifically evolution. It says that a man is born with natural tendencies, characteristics, and instincts of his own, and all these aspects have a purely physical origin, along with which he struggles for his survival in the world. Now, aims of education according to naturalism. As we have studied the aims of education according to idealism, naturalism also gives certain aims and objectives to education. First one is self-preservation. According to biological naturalism, self-preservation is the first law of nature. It is the process of an organism preventing itself from being harmed or killed and is considered as a basic instinct in most organisms, more like a survival instinct. In order to live completely, man has to continue his own existence first, right? How he will do that? Life is dynamic and ever-changing. Man will do that by adjusting himself to the changing life. The aim of education under naturalism is to help in that process of adjustment. For example, if it's raining outside and I have to reach my office, then what will I do? I can use an umbrella because otherwise I will fall sick. I cannot stop the rain, but I can adjust my habit according to the natural calamity. Another well-known example here is, maybe I should have used it in the first place, it just crossed my mind right now, is the work from home culture, which we adopted during COVID-19 pandemic. That was our way of adjustment to the changing environment and struggle for existence as well. Next is securing the necessities of life. Education should train directly to fulfill the necessary needs of life. For example, money. Money is not life, but still money is necessity in maintaining life, to some extent at least. So education will prepare the pupil in such a way that they can earn money to sustain their life. Next is raising children. Naturalism believes that the chief aim of education is the fullest development of the child. Education should deal both with the care of children and their discipline as growing boys and girls. Next is maintenance of social and political relation. Man must have some understanding of social and political processes outside home. Besides being a family man, he should also be a wise citizen, equipped for social and political action if living is to be complete. For example, if any crime is going on in front of our eyes, we must go and protest against that. This is our social responsibility. This we will learn from education. Next is enjoyment of leisure. Life is not all about serious struggles and earning a living. Complete living also includes freedom from struggle and some time for relief and satisfaction. Some recreational time when man and woman can enjoy their leisure time without being worried about their physical, mental, social and financial problem. For example, when we go out once in a while to relax and escape from the busy schedule of our daily life, that is also needed for maintaining our mental health and quality of life. Now comes the concept of teacher, student, curriculum, method of teaching and discipline as we have studied in the earlier philosophy. First of all, how a teacher should be according to naturalism. Teacher is a non-interfering observer. According to naturalists, the teacher is the observer and facilitator of the child's development rather than a giver of information, ideals or ideas. Try to remember and compare it with the previous philosophy. It will be easier for you to understand. Idealists said to follow or imitate the teacher as he or she lives the life of virtue. But here, teacher is only a supplier of materials and opportunities, a provider of an ideal environment or a creator of conditions under which natural development of the student takes place. And the teacher only plays the role of an observer who will not interfere within those conditions. Next is, teacher will be in the background and stimulate the child's environment. Teacher's role is to remain in the background and stimulate the child's natural environment, since nature is considered to be the best educator. In order to teach the child, the teacher will create a situation for the child and expose him to that. After that, the child will be allowed to tackle the situation according to his own understanding. The teacher will only observe from the background and allow the nature to teach. For example, if a child is going to touch a hot object, he will feel the pain and discomfort and thus learn to avoid doing the same in future. Next point says, teacher should not stress on books. Teacher should not be the one who stresses on books. Rather, he should emphasize on activity, exploration and learning by doing. Again, the opposite of idealism. Here the teacher is more inclined to shape the pupil through real life experiences rather than literature. Teachers should learn about the backgrounds of their students. Teachers are advised here to learn about the backgrounds of their students. For example, if a student caused trouble, his home conditions should be studied to see whether he belongs from a broken home. It may be due to divorce, death, marital conflict, physical or mental abuse, or any other social problem. And that could be the main reason behind that particular student's behavior. So, if a teacher is unable to manage a class, he would be held responsible for lacking insight into the child's nature or being unaware of the child's environmental problems. So that was all about the teacher. Now we will see how a student and curriculum should be under this philosophy. First one says, child-centered curriculum. The curriculum is child-centered, which is based on the needs, interests and abilities of the child. The main thing you see in a child-centered classroom are engaged students. For example, if we consider a group of 4 students discussing a particular question in a book, another group working on a dramatic production, and another group discussing a different aspect of the book. And finally, the whole group comes together to share their work. That is a child-centered classroom. Next is experience-centered curriculum. It is also experience-centered. Experience is what comes through activity. Experience-centered curriculum helps in recognizing individual differences and experiences of the child. How a student reacts or interacts with the activities, people and things in their environment determines their degree of learning. For example, working in a workshop or a science laboratory, field trips, etc. are the examples of experience-centered learning. Next is, know the child and you will know what to teach. Naturalists say, know the child and you will know what to teach. It means a child should be taught according to his level of understanding, interests and abilities. Those are not same for all. Some may excel in music, some may excel in sports, some in poetry. That interest should be found out first and it will be much easier to teach the child. Next is, no boundaries. Naturalism does not favor in imposing any boundary on the children. Each and every child has the right to choose and frame his own curriculum. Now, what are the subjects? According to naturalism, the following subjects should be included in the curriculum. First one is science. Science as in physics, chemistry, botany, etc. because this will help children to establish their connection with nature. Next, mathematics and language, because this will help to acquire the subjects of science. Next is history and social science, because in order to acquire modern knowledge, knowing the process of evolution, knowing the past is necessary. And agriculture and carpentry, this will increase their observation power and provide them with the power of practical judgment. Physical education and health training for self-protection. So, naturalists say that physical education and health training is important for self-protection of the child, but they did not form any particular curriculum for that. They say that the child should be exposed to cold, heat and risks as far as possible. They should be allowed to do free movements in natural environments like running, jumping, climbing, swimming, etc. It will work as a physical training and they will automatically acquire techniques of self-protection from nature. Drawing is compulsory in the curriculum here. It is considered as a leisure activity, and as I have already explained, maintaining a leisure time is also very important in order to have a complete living. So it is compulsory as a subject. Ethical and spiritual training. Naturalists have some different views on ethical and spiritual training. According to naturalism, religion is a matter of the heart and not of the head. Religion is to be felt and not to be reasoned. So, children should pick their own religion from experiences they acquire. Ethical training should not be imposed on the children. They will build their own ethical sense in natural order through the process of rewards and punishments. As the student is exposed in the environment or society, he will have a bunch of experiences followed by either reward or punishment depending on his response. For example, if a student fights with his peers, everyone will either avoid him or fight back, none of which is desirable. So, this will be like a punishment for him and he will learn not to repeat the same in future. Next comes the method of teaching. First one is inductive. Method of instruction should be inductive. Inductive means where theories are formed from specific examples or incidents. Means the way of teaching goes from specific to general. For example, a teacher shows the phenomenon of rising sun in the east to a student, and then the student learns from there that sun always rises in the east. Next is play-way method. Teaching method should be based upon the belief that the child is not averse to learning but enjoys it. It should make the students inclined to learn by transforming difficult tasks into pleasant ones. This is called the play-way method. The underlying principle here is that all learning should take place through the spirit of joy, spontaneity and creativity. Children should enjoy the teaching learning process and not dislike it. Next is learning by doing. Naturalists are not in favor of direct teaching through lectures or textbooks. They say bookish knowledge should be as little as possible. They focus on direct experience of things. For example, geography is to be taught through actual excursion and observation. Activities like excursions, field trips and practical experiments are recommended to enhance learning. Next is any task that is against the pupil's interest should be avoided. All educational activities should be enjoyable to the child. Any task that is against his interest should be avoided. The teaching method is found in their conformity to the natural development of pupils. What does this mean? This means there will be readiness of the students for any given learning. The teacher will not determine what the child should learn. He will learn a particular task on his own as soon as he is ready for a certain type of learning activity. It will seek in naturally without being forced by anyone. Next is observation and experimentation. The naturalists do not favor any type of rigidity in their daily time schedule. A student may choose a specific schedule and it may not work out for him. If it doesn't work out for him, then he will do it again and change it and see if it works. If it gives him freedom to learn through observation and experimentation. The last one is self-government and self-effort. The naturalists emphasize on open-air schools, self-government and co-education in educational institution. For harmonious development of the child, he should be given freedom to plan his own activities. To regulate the school society, government is required. But it must be self-government, means governed by the students. Naturalists have no faith in discipline based on external force. Self-government will give the students direct experience of social life, while co-education will develop the right type of family and community life. Next is the concept of discipline. First one says, punish them as the nature punishes. Punishment in naturalism should be constituted by the natural consequences of wrong deeds. We should punish them as the nature punishes. Means the punishment should come as the natural result of the wrong deeds done by the student. The child should be left perfectly free to act in any way he likes and then face the consequences of his actions. That will be his best teaching through nature. Here also you can use the example of the hot object. The pain caused by burn is the perfect punishment for the child who tried to touch the hot object. Next is education free from rigid discipline. Naturalism aims at making education free from the bondage of rigid discipline under which children are tortured. Freedom will make the child disciplined. It is believed that the freedom of child will make him disciplined and he will be naturally controlled by his own learning and experiences. For example, when a child fights with others, he is either avoided or isolated by his peers, and that will be his perfect punishment, which will teach him not to fight with others in future. In this way, he will be controlled naturally through his own learning and experiences, and he will become self-disciplined also. Lastly, the limitations or weaknesses of naturalism. Nature is not enough. Physical nature alone is not always sufficient for providing education. For example, in specialization courses, the subjects need to be taught from books because first of all, theory is important to understand the subjects, understand the concepts. Secondly, if theory is understood, then only practical works can be done truthfully. Absolute freedom is dangerous. Absolute freedom to child can be dangerous sometimes. For example, a child cannot be allowed to hang himself or take any destructive step. That may cost him his life. Next is higher education is ignored. Naturalism ignores the higher ends of the education process. It means if a pupil desires to achieve higher education to the level of postgraduate, research or PhD, etc., then books and theoretical knowledge is a must. They cannot be achieved only by practical learning. Next is naturalistic surroundings are difficult to find. It is difficult to find naturalistic surroundings for locating educational institutions. As naturalism focuses on field trips and environmental learning rather than classroom learning, it's important to find places which support this teaching method. For example, a playground or a space capable of providing real life situation to the students. These are needed, which may not be available always. Very little importance to the teacher. Naturalism pays very little importance to the teacher in the educative process. It may go wrong in the long run because then the students will never realize the importance of a teacher in life. So that was all about naturalism. In my next video, I will discuss about pragmatism, the next traditional philosophy. If you like this video, then please like and share this video and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.